Well, welcome everyone. It's Kelly at Women for One, and today I am so overjoyed and full of love in my heart because I get to speak with one of my mentors in my life, Byron Katie. So, welcome, Byron.
Thank you,
And
Kelly.
Katie, people call you Katie, so I'll call
Yeah,
you Katie.
Byron,
Katie.
Katie, either one.
Okay, so I just to give our community a little bit of information about you. I wanted to just start and say that you're an author of many books. Loving What Is was one of my favorite books several years ago, and the other one, Who Would You Be Without Your Story, which is so perfect for Women for One because we ask women to share their stories so they can get a perspective and move through them and not become their stories. So,
Yeah.
really excited about that. And obviously, you're the creator and the founder of The Work, which I'd like to share with our community.
Oh, good.
The simple process of transformation. The inquiry is just amazing. So, thank you for being here.
Thank you. It's my privilege.
Yes.
And again, thank you for your good work in connecting women all over the world.
It's been my pleasure, actually. I've learned so much. So I wanted to start with, for the people that don't know your story and your background, can you just give a brief synopsis of
Yes,
how
my
you moved
main
into it?
credentials are years of depression. And in that depression, it felt at some point that I would rather be dead than continue to live. And so I was in a very hopeless state of mind and and world. So one day, as I lay sleeping on the floor, a cockroach crawled over my foot. I opened my eyes, and there was no reference. And then all of a sudden, I could see out the windows, and I could see trees and sky and a ceiling, and it was odd, a woman.
Hmm.
And and then I saw, because of that moment just before, without identification, I saw what created the me, a tree, a sky, I mean everything. It I had Gosh, how do I say it? After all these years, um, I had literally believed that world in, and it's as though I got the joke. It's as though someone finally, I got the punchline. But prior to that moment, no identification. And then, as I saw the world and my mind named it, put a story on the image of tree, sky, me, then I could see that when I believed my thoughts, I suffered. And when I didn't believe them in that moment just prior to that, I didn't suffer. And then I began to laugh. It was the first sound out of me on that floor, just depressed, and then waking up to this amazing reality. And I've come to see that this is true for every human being. And that's the good news from the floor, is when we believe our thoughts, we suffer. When we question our thoughts, we end our own suffering. And it's for all of us. It's simple inquiry. Anyone can do it.
I love the self inquiry and the curiosity part, being curious, because I've been curious since by nature since I was born. I feel like it's my greatest gift in my life and
Yeah,
humans in a lot of ways, being curious about things
yeah,
and questioning,
yes,
questioning.
yes,
Don't
yes,
believe everything you think. You said that, you know? I mean,
yes,
I say
yes,
that when I get really serious about everything. I say
yeah.
that.
Like if I have a judgment on someone, and my emotions, I feel like um, revved up. We could say stressed, anything like that. Then I can identify that judgment. I can question it, and then I see that human being differently, and that lasts.
Right.
And then I see myself differently because I'm kinder when I don't believe my unkind judgments about someone else. Now, it's okay for me to believe it if it's true, because the truth is the truth. It's just that when I question that judgment, I am shown a whole other world. And what I could just swear is true is not necessarily true. And that's what I love about the work. Every time we do it, we come out as kinder human beings.
So can we talk about the work a little? Because I just love it. And the four-step process, I can walk through it. I'd love to hear you walk me through one. I've got, I don't
Good.
know,
Good.
thousands.
Good.
um,
So what do you have written?
well, I actually, what I have written is the work and the four steps. I
Uh-huh.
did Judge Your Neighbor worksheet, which everyone in our community should go to the work, and we'll have a link to it to try and
Right.
fill out. I don't have it in front of me, but I did it on an unnamed person that I would rather not name her name, but
Yes.
she is someone that I have to have in my life, and I feel like she really doesn't like me, and all I do is keep trying to get it right with her. So
Yes.
I'd love to do that one.
Okay. So what would you fill in? And for those of you looking for the Judge Your Neighbor worksheets, it's at thework.com. Then you'll see how to do the work, and just go there. It'll show you the worksheet, and you can pull it up. But
Looks like this.
state,
Judge Your Neighbor. I just didn't
that's
fill this
it.
one out.
So look at it, Kelly. On statement number one, what would you write there?
Angry and hurt with her.
Because
She doesn't like me and always judges me.
okay, so let's start with she doesn't like you. Now, what is the situation? Find the situation when you were thinking and believing that about her.
She was yelling at me.
Okay, she was yelling at you.
hmm
Okay, and are you in a room? Are you outdoors? Are you on
We
the
were at a
cell?
restaurant.
At a restaurant. Okay, and is she sitting across from you, or to the left or
To the
right?
right. To the right.
She's sitting to the right. Okay, so now all of us, viewers and me, we can see you at a restaurant, and you're sitting down. We see you, and she's to your right. Now, if there are 1,000 people on this call, there are 1,000 different restaurants, 1,000 different tables. I mean, one for each of us. And so we can all be there at that table
Mm.
as you, okay? And you be there looking back at that situation exactly the way it was, okay?
hmm
She doesn't like you. And I want you to stay there in that situation. She doesn't like you. Is it true?
Yes. She's been clear
She
with me.
doesn't, again?
She's been clear with me. It is true.
Yeah, she says to you, I don't like you.
Yes. She says
Okay,
yes.
so she doesn't like you. Second question, there are only four. Second question, can you really know that it's true? She doesn't like you.
Well, she's told me and many others in my family. Yes.
Okay. So I love that you answered that way, because there are only four questions, and the answers to the first two is either yes or no. So this work is meditation, and it's something that we get very still in and meditate on that moment in time. So if it's a yes, good. If it's a no, good. But take your time, be there now in that situation, look at her. Can you really know that it's true? So the answer I hear from you is yes. So just one syllable for the first two questions. So I invite you all, when you're doing this, to get very still. We're meditating on a moment in time, because you may be able to see something now you didn't see then. Okay? So, so how do you react? Notice as you witness you at that table, how do you react? What happens when you believe the thought, she doesn't like me?
I feel small and I feel shame.
Okay, now Notice, meditating on that moment when you believed it, what happened to your facial expressions? How did you react to her?
I actually avoided her.
Yeah. So you see you do that, you see your facial expressions,
Yeah, I just
yeah.
I
And
got
she's actually saying I don't like you.
not those words then. She's told me that before.
Okay, so let's just say you have, just in that moment in time, she doesn't like you. When you're believing that, what happens to your emotions as well?
I get really sad. I
Yeah.
feel very out of control that I can't control a situation.
And you see you at the table, you're pretending like that's not going on,
Right.
trying to, yeah, trying to, so you're a facade.
All the other people at the table, right. It's a facade. It doesn't feel real.
Yes. So you're not you, not comfortable. Okay, so now look at her face. We're going to move to the fourth question. Witness her without the thought she doesn't like me. Just drop the thought, hear what she's saying, look at her, look into her eyes, look at her. You may see something that you just really look. It's like we see it, but we don't see it. And now's an opportunity to look.
She's really threatened and angry with just angry in general and threatened
Yeah,
and scared.
yeah. In general, that's not even personal with you
Mm-mm.
at all. She doesn't like you. Turn it around. I,
I don't like
again,
I don't like myself.
yes, in that moment, you don't like yourself for not liking her. It's against our,
Mm.
I mean, look how uncomfortable you are.
Hmm.
And a facade, unable to speak up out of a balanced
Voice shut down.
voice,
Voice shut down.
voice shut down. So now these turnarounds, for those of you new to the work, the turnarounds, we find opposites. That's all we're doing. And then we're trying them on, like to see, like, does the glove fit? And like trying on a new pair of shoes. So let's see if we can find another turnaround. She doesn't like me. Another turnaround.
Um,
I
I can never.
No,
Oh,
she doesn't like me. Keep the same words,
okay.
only just opposites. I don't.
I don't like
Her.
her. I don't like her
You don't like her. In that moment, in that
in that
situation,
moment.
you didn't like her at all.
No.
Now you saw her as your story about her was she doesn't like you.
Right.
But then in that fourth question, you could see someone that didn't like anything. It wasn't personal.
Right. And I guess.
And you're not liking this innocent person in a lot of pain.
Right.
There's a human being in a lot of pain. You can see that now.
Yes.
And you are liking her.
Mm.
That's because you weren't you.
It wasn't me.
No.
I shut my voice down. I just had a big aha, Katie, when you said that
Yeah.
about my voice shutting down.
Yes. So she doesn't like me. So let's just very gently find another opposite. What is another opposite? She doesn't like me. What is the opposite of she doesn't?
She does.
She does like me. So now close your eyes, be there in that situation. Try it on, just like, just see if what you can find there. She does like me. See what you can see there. For one, she didn't say, I don't like you. Mm-hmm. Have you ever, sometimes you like people, sometimes you don't.
Right.
Well, she's just like you. And in that moment, in that situation, she does like me. Take a look at that.
Right.
She's not attacking you.
And it's like the blanket, deciding she doesn't like me all the time from that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I don't like her is about the only real thing we found here.
Right.
And I don't like myself.
Right.
Yeah, because you were reading her wrong. In other words, you had no proof other than you were believing she doesn't like you.
Right.
No proof.
No proof.
So that's the work. 4 questions and turnaround. So what did you want in that situation? What did you want her to say or do? Or
I wanted us to be kind to one another.
okay, so you want her to be kind to you.
Yes.
Okay.
I want her to be kind to me because I feel like I'm always kind to her.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that one.
So in that situation, you want her to be kind to you. Is it true as you look back? Look at her in that situation. You look at how much pain she's in.
I wasn't kind to her.
But you want her to be kind to you.
Right.
Her, look at her from here. Is it even possible?
No.
No, she's not liking anyone or anything. You know, there's a name for that. It's called fear. You're describing a fearful human being.
Mm-hmm.
And were you able to like her in that moment?
No.
No. So you're expecting this person to do what you cannot even do in the moment. So you
That's
want
big. That's a big one for me right there.
It is. You look who you're wanting to like you.
I can't even do it.
No.
Wow. That's a big deal.
Yeah. And she wasn't, it doesn't sound like she was able to like anyone or anything.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And notice how you react when you believe the thought, I want her to like me. Notice what happens to you when you put this on an innocent human being. It's like being with someone that has cancer and kicking them.
Yep.
So who notice how you react when you believe the thought, I want her to like me.
And then judge her for not. Right.
You weren't even liking you.
No.
But you want her to do what you were unable to do.
Mm-hmm.
Both ways.
I love that. It really shifts your belief system.
It does. And notice the compassion you're moving into when you consider this human being.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can see her through a gentleness and the compassion that believers don't have access to.
Right.
And you were not you. You were that believer sitting there and feeling isolated.
Right.
And small, hurt. Now look at her again without that requirement. Who would you be sitting there looking at her, really look at her now, without the thought, I want her to like me?
I'd be me, how I am with most other women.
Yeah. And being gentle.
Gentle. So interesting you say that, because yesterday I was running a webinar and there was a really hurting woman and I tapped into that person in me when you asked that.
Yet that's you in right mind.
Right. Yes.
And sitting across from her now, you can see her the way you saw the woman you worked with yesterday, because you're of right mind enough to see this person at the table.
And not need anything from them.
And it's crazy to need something from people when we can't give it ourselves. It's completely dependent.
Yes.
And look who we're going to with our dependency.
Right. I mean,
It's
that's
a little
actually
bit, you
kind of,
can't do
and
it.
you know what? I've watched you before, and it is kind of humorous when you really think about it.
It
If you
is.
work these simple questions, because
Yes.
they're deep, but they're so powerful and simple.
They're deep, and we can see out of our right mind now what we couldn't see then, and everything shifts.
Wow, that's exciting.
It's
Thank
so
you.
exciting because already you can probably see that you may have some amends to make. The next time you're with her, you might say, you know, when we were having, I'll call it dinner, when we were
Hmm.
at the table the other day, you were sitting to my right at so and so restaurant, and you know, I felt like I left you out of conversation, and I noticed that I wasn't really paying attention to you or really noticing or looking at you. And I'm talking about the real her.
Right,
And looking at you,
right.
and sometimes I'm really in myself and I tend to leave people out, and for that I really apologize.
Hmm.
And you know, you told me a couple of times you didn't like me, and I'm beginning to understand why.
That would be great to be able to do. And is that a really important part of the work? This last part, this.
Well, it's I mean, people love these kinds of conversations. They love to be understood
And
and
heard and seen.
connected with,
Hmm.
rather than us being so needy and rejecting them if they don't
Give
like us.
or give us what they want, what we want.
Yeah,
I love that.
yeah. Right mindedness is, you know, it eventually just translates to love,
So,
connectedness.
how do you personally, like, the moment you had this, for lack of a better word, enlightened experience? Um,
Like
which,
like you're having now.
right? How do you? That's what I'm asking. So I've had these experiences. I had an
Yes,
experience like yours a couple times
yeah.
in my life. Then I creep back into patterns and believing my mind. Is
So
it?
the only difference between you and me is I had the work. I took my thoughts out of my head. I identified them, put them on paper, just like you did
Okay.
just now with the first two statements. And then I did what you did. I questioned them and I got still in it. I meditated on, is it true? And we'll use your example. Is it true from that restaurant and that situation? So I undid a lifetime to catch up with the enlightenment that I was already holding. That's how I was able to hold it, where other people have at least as profound as an experience as I had.
Right.
It's just that I what I saw gave me the questions.
Gave you the questions, and you can sustain it now through those questions and the work.
As long as I sit in the work, and just working with you, I'm sitting in the work.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah,
That's amazing. And
yeah.
so when you're talking about fear, you brought up fear before, and I'd like to kind of just ask you a question about presence and fear, right? So I actually watched some other interviews before we came on, and I heard you talking about the present moment as opposed to the past or the future,
Uh-huh.
and the notion of the story that we've told ourselves, the belief systems and the idealized images of our head of what we think we should have or what we went through in our past. You
Yes.
know, can you just talk a little bit about the present moment? Because I love your simple process of the work as opposed to someone else that is just saying, stay in the present moment. Does this work help you stay in the present moment, right? That's what it's about.
Okay. So were you in the present moment when you were looking back at that situation? Notice how present you were. You were completely present.
Yes. Yes. I could feel my body though being there though.
Yes.
Hmm.
And because you were in the present now, safe from here to look back and see what you saw, it's entirely enlightening.
Mm. Okay.
You're always enlightened. But when you believe something against your true nature, then inquiry wakes us up if we can't find balance with it right away. And I'm not saying justification, but
Right.
real connection.
When you say
Anything
that, what do
in
you mean?
connection, it's a judge your neighbor worksheet.
Right. When you said justification versus real connection,
Yes. Like, oh, I like her. It's okay.
it's fine.
It
Yeah.
was all my fault. It was me. That's not it. It's an experience.
So it's really experiencing all
Wasn't
that.
it humbling?
Yes, it's humbling.
It's humbling, and you were connected, and it's the experience that we witnessed in you, and some of us witnessed through you within ourselves. Not only connected us with you, but it connected. I'll speak for myself, but I'd say a lot of us. It connected me with people that I am going to dinner with tonight. It connected me with the possibility of sitting across from anyone I don't like, and that there's a possibility that I will like that person when maybe no one else at the table does.
That's awesome. So it connects all of us. Can you also do this work? And I'm hearing the word yes, but for yourself, like for example, body image. I've got all these body images. You can work,
Sure.
do the process about what you tell yourself.
What's a thought about your body, how you see your
I'm
body?
fat and unattractive.
Okay, so you're unattractive.
Mm-hmm.
Is it true?
No.
Where's your proof?
It's not true. I've worked this one. It's not true.
Okay, so, and let's continue with it. Where's your proof that you're unattractive? When you said, my body is unattractive, you saw an image of you in your mind's eye.
Yes.
Now, was that you or imagination?
It was me now saying that.
I heard you. But when you said, my body is unattractive, you saw an image of you, your body, in your mind.
Yes, I did.
Okay? So
was that mirror imagination?
That image in your head, and you can look at it right now. Do you see you in your mind's eye sitting there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Is that imagination or is it real?
I don't know.
Oh, yes, you do. Let's look at it. Can you take it out and put it in the sink and rinse it off?
It's imagination. Sorry.
It's a pure imagination. It's a movie.
Okay. It's a movie.
Now look at that image. So is that you or imagination?
That's imagination.
Imagination.
Look how long that took me to say, though.
I know. It's scary. The ego's going, okay, I wanted an interview here, but this is going to. So only the ego gets confused. Okay, so that's an image.
Right.
That's not you. So your body is unattractive. Is it true that your body is unattractive? That's not your body.
The imagination part is not my body.
Yeah, that's imagination.
Well, everybody else tells me my body's fine. See?
That for everyone else, we're looking at your story. Their story is theirs is that yours is fine, but you're the one you live with.
Right.
Your imagination is
it's not unattractive. It's just different than it used to be.
Okay, so now I'm going to move you back to the image.
Okay.
Okay. So you see that that image in your head, mm-hmm. and then you see that other image you just mentioned. It's a different size. It looks different. Mm-hmm. Is that real?
No.
No. So you're comparing.
Yeah. No, neither of them.
Now there's also another body in there. When you say your body's unattractive, there's another body. You see some gorgeous body mm-hmm. from a magazine or a movie, or you see that?
Yes.
You're comparing.
Right.
Okay. You're comparing images. All right. Now, if you,
1, 2, 3. Yeah.
if you, if, if you did not compare your body with any other body, is it perfect? If you were unable to
It is
compare,
perfect, actually. It's given me 3 beautiful children. It's not sick. It's healthy. Yes.
okay. And beyond that, I'm gonna hold you here. It's, as long as you're gonna travel with me.
I'm traveling. I'm trying.
Okay. So, so if you could not, if it were impossible, because this is for all your viewers too, if it were
Yes.
impossible to compare you with anyone else, are you the love of your life? Are you completely
I am.
amazing?
I love
And
myself.
the moment you compare you, you're only comparing images.
Yeah.
And then you feel it's like we just trash this amazing gift
Yep.
in our heads.
It's an image.
Yeah. So what are we guilty of? Not being too fat, too thin, too old, too weak, too young,
Right.
too we're comparing, we're not even guilty. Now if you look in the mirror, is that reality or an image?
It's an image.
It's an image. That's not you.
Did you see how much faster I answered that time? Wow.
Yeah. I think you're starting to wake
Starting.
up to mind is everything. Mind is the creator of all of it. And when it doesn't match its true nature, in other words, when it's not kind, and the way you've seen your body has not always been kind,
Correct.
you're going to feel stress. And that stress is the reminder that your head is off, not your body, and that it's time to do the work.
It's time to do the work.
Yeah.
Wow.
Until you understand you are the love of your life and that you are humble, you are compassionate, you are the light of the world. Literally, you obviously have that ability. Then our work's not done until we stop being at war with anyone or anything.
That is so powerful. And I think that will benefit everyone watching.
Oh, I hope
There's
so.
so
Because
many
you
women.
are so brave.
Oh,
You just went places that a lot of people would just hang up, and and you went places that a lot of courageous people were able to travel, and we all witness in our own way. But
thank you.
you are our possibility, Kelly.
Thank you. And with the term where you help people with their own suffering, I have one last question for you because it's been on my mind my whole life as a seeker of truth or whatever that word means for all of us.
Well, we've just seen through you what it means. At that table, as you look back, you really got honest. And that was not an easy person to get along with. People don't get along with her, and you just did.
So that's truth.
Very beautiful way.
That's truth.
Yes, that's truth.
That's truth for yourself.
And we're connected. That's it.
That's all there is.
That's it. Connection.
So my last question is
and I'll say a little about connection.
Okay.
It means I care. And I'm connected, and I can see if you have needs, if I have the ability to support you, that I can and will. It's a fearless state of mind where we're all connected and kind enough to be out of self long enough to get the job done.
Right. Yeah.
And we have, there's some work to do, so let's get clear about it.
I have one question left, and it's more about, around seeking truth, and if that's all there is, how do you reconcile in your mind with the work you're doing, the suffering that's going on in the world? Because that's something I get stuck on a lot. The external suffering.
What suffering is that?
It's the suffering we're witnessing around the world with,
for example,
people starving.
Okay.
War.
So
Yeah.
I ask myself, there are people starving. Is it true? And then I notice those images in my head are not people. Those are not people. Can I absolutely know that there are people in the world that are starving? I cannot absolutely know that it's true. How do I react when I believe the thought there are people starving? I see the image there in the newspaper. I am immediately guilty,
Yes.
hurt,
Mm-hmm.
fearful. That could be me.
Right.
And I want to be more generous, but I get more greedy. I become greedier because I might starve. Maybe I even start hiding money. Maybe
So fear.
I buy two of everything
It's
when
fear.
I only need one. How do I react when I believe the thought people are starving? I am guilty, guilty, guilty. And a lot more goes out of it. I send money to them for food, but I don't feel better permanently because there are more starving people in the world than I can take care of. So now I'm just going to give up, feel guilty, guilty, guilty. Okay, so I'm just sitting in how I react when I believe the thought there are starving people in the world. Okay, who would I be without the thought? Oh my gosh, I'm sitting here with you.
Right.
I was starving for something real. I was in hell. That was horrible.
Wow.
So people are starving in the world. I was starving in the world. I am in the state of grace. I've just had lunch. I'm not starving.
I'm here.
I'm here. Now, how can I serve? And I noticed as I was walking down the street yesterday, last night, it was cold, and there was a man wrapped in a blue tarp, and he just happened to stick, he was all bundled up, and he happened to stick his face out just enough where I could notice him. And for no reason, I just walk right up to him and, sweetheart, are you okay? Is there anything I can do? You know what he said?
What?
I'm making it. I'm okay. And he said, have a good night. And I said, I will if you will. And I could walk on without taking him home with
you.
Me. I'm listening. I'm connected.
You're present. Mm-hmm.
I'm present. He just wanted me to have a good night, and he's making it.
That's amazing. That's awesome.
Connected with everyone and everything, and then in other words, when someone's hungry, I can feed them. But the greatest thing that I can give is connection, a fearless state of mind with everyone in the world.
I love that. I was going to ask for a last piece of wisdom, but that's
isn't
pretty
that
amazing,
what we're starving? Isn't that what we're starving for?
Yes.
You know, when people are starving, the worst thing about it is they're believing their thoughts. Wow. And I invite all of you to just consider this. Under all circumstances, what you're thinking and believing is the cause of all suffering. And I invite you not to believe me, of course, but to test it for yourself. And the work is the test.
That is a beautiful place to wrap up here. That was amazing.
Oh, thank you, Kelly.
Thank you so much for what we did today. That was just amazing for me. And well, I honor you, and I know you're coming to Seattle, and I hope to meet you in person in January 31st.
I'm so looking forward to Seattle.
Yeah, so please, everyone, check out Byron Katie on thework.com. We will have the Judge Your Neighbor worksheet linked.
Yes.
So that all of you can try this simple transformative process. Yeah.
And we have a helpline that's free. They don't ask your name. Anyone can call and just fill in a Judge Your Neighbor worksheet and call, and we'll support you to walk through it. And thank you, Kelly.
Thank you very much. Take care.
You too.
Bye.